All right, here we go. This is going to be fast. The Titans have
Let's
traded
go.
up to 33 overall here on day 2 of the NFL draft. I'm Austin Stanley with Sam Phelan and Jack Gentry back for our second day doing this A to Z Sports Titans Draft Live. We are here live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Real quickly, because we're waiting on the Titans pick, and this is going to move very, very fast. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys all about our great sponsors that have been making this entire draft show happen. I want to give quick shout outs to HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50. Use that code ATOZ50. You get 50% off. Your first box ships free. Holiday World and Splashin Safari. Make the most of your family's summer with a trip. Just a couple hours away. Get tickets at holidayworld.com. And Aura, keeping you safe online. Use our link, aura.com/ATOZ for 2-week free trial. My goodness, guys. This one starts off fresh with a bang. The Titans pick is in. Jack, in 15 seconds, what do you think is going to happen?
I don't think it's a quarterback. I don't think you can be halfway in, halfway out. I think they're going pass catcher here. There's still a lot of meat left on that bone, so that's my.
This is going to come out in seconds, and I'm just going to roll with it as soon as this pick comes out, and we can react to it immediately. We are hanging on every second right now as the pick is in for the Tennessee Titans at
Sam,
number
what's your
33.
prediction? What's your prediction?
And it's in. It's in. The Tennessee Titans have traded up and drafted quarterback Will Levis at 33.
Holy.
You're kidding me, right?
No. Buck Rising just tweeted it out.
The Mayo Man coming to the Music City. Wow.
Well, guys, Will Levis is the pick. Damn it. I'm going to get a lot of heat because this was my rule when I woke up. Will Levis, no, not Will Levis, no matter what. But here we are with Will Levis being the Titans' new quarterback, going 33rd overall.
Hang on, I'm trying to figure out if this is what Buck meant or not.
Okay.
Buck said, oh my God, they traded up for Will Levis. Is that a report from our guy, Buck?
Yeah.
Let's see. They were 33 and 81 from Arizona for 41-72, and next year's third is the
so
full
this is
trade.
it. This is the Titans are done today, right? This is it.
I thought that they received a third-round pick as well. It's a double pick swap. Yeah.
Yeah, they got 80-something.
Okay.
In the draft. So is this what we
Sam, did you tease us?
I don't know if this is Buck saying that's the pick.
No, it's Will Levis. Taylor Lewan tweeted it as well, saying that he's breaking the news. Here is Roger Goodell's official announcement with a 33rd pick. The Titans on the clock, trading up with Arizona.
Yep. Schefter with it just now. Titans pick Kentucky QB Will Levis.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Back-to-back drafts. The Titans take a quarterback. You know, I know that they really liked him. I didn't know that they liked him enough to trade up in the second round. Austin,
wow.
This is what you didn't want.
It was
first round or nothing, right?
All right, I'm about to go off on this because this is all right. Let me reset here. All right, we're here live on A to Z Sports Titans Draft Reaction. I'm Austin Stanley, Sam Phelan, our Titans reporter at A2ZSports.com, and Jack Gentry of the Tighten Up Podcast and A2ZSports.com as well. The Tennessee Titans have traded up for quarterback Will Levis out of Kentucky from 41 up to 33. Sam, do you have the trade compensation that's been reported thus far?
The full trade compensation that we have. Here it is. We have the Tennessee Titans got pick 33, which they have used on quarterback Will Levis, and pick 81, which is in the third round later today, in exchange for pick 41, the Titans' second round pick, the Titans' third round pick 72, and next year's third. So Tennessee gives up next year's third round pick. They move up 8 spots in the second round and back 9 spots in the third round. And they grab a quarterback in Will Levis. Wow. I mean, this is headline type of stuff right here. How are we? I'm going to toss it to you guys.
Yeah.
I have my thoughts on it. I know you feel a little bit stronger, Austin, so I'll let you kind of digest what's happening while this settles in. But Will Levis is a Tennessee Titan.
Yeah, I'm going to start here because I think this is bad move by the Tennessee Titans, because I was thinking about this all day. You drafted a quarterback in the 3rd round last year, Malik Willis. He's obviously not it. So you're probably going to move on from Malik Willis. You're not going to keep him around as your 3rd quarterback. And you're not going to draft Will Levis 33 overall and have him start over Ryan Tannehill. You pass on a quarterback at 11 overall, but you like him enough to get him at 33 and trade up for him. I feel like if you don't love a quarterback enough to take him at 11, then you shouldn't draft him at 33 and think he's your franchise starter moving forward. I thought about this all day long, guys. When you're shopping, and if you're out there shopping for clothes and you put something on in the store and you try it on, if you don't absolutely love it in the store, you're not going to love it when you take it home. If you don't absolutely love it at 11 as a quarterback, is it going to be the right move for you guys long term? Is Will Levis really going to be the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans moving forward? Because I think this is a waste of an opportunity to go with Peter Skoronski, stay with what you've got, and use your 2nd round pick and your 3rd round pick tonight to go get pass catchers and weapons on your offense, to go battle for the AFC South against the Jacksonville Jaguars and get better, because there's a lot of good players here. But now you're going to draft Will Levis, who is only under contract for now 4 years, and I don't think he should start in this season over Tannehill as a 2nd round pick. So now he's got 3 years, and I just don't think this is the smart way to do it. If we're going to do it, you draft a quarterback in the 1st round, so you get a 5th-year option of control. Now you're in a 2nd round quarterback with a guy who's not ready to start day one. I am not liking this whatsoever. So Jack, if you want to go now, I'll let you go ahead and react to Will Levis being the Titans pick at 33 overall.
I hate it a lot less than most of the fan base and you. With what's going on in the division, I know you don't draft a quarterback for the sake of drafting a quarterback. You need to find a guy behind Tannehill. You got to find a guy that can sit and wait and learn. Levis, I think you know is mentally ready, but there's some stuff he's got to clean up in his game. He had a bad 2022, but he was dealing with a new offensive coordinator, a bad offensive line, not a lot of skill guys to help him out there. The decision making was a problem. Now, if you can get rid of some of the boneheaded stuff like fumbling against Ole Miss or having a dud against Tennessee and Vanderbilt, there's room to grow there. This is a gamble, though. This is a flat-out gamble. It's a 2nd round pick. The deal wasn't so bad. You get rid of a 3rd rounder next year and have essentially a double pick swap. So the Titans aren't giving a ton away. I think
you didn't give up a lot. You didn't give up a lot, which I think can make you feel a little bit. I mean, you moved back in the 3rd, moved up in the 2nd, and you went up and got you used the pick next year. But if you like the player, if you like the quarterback, I mean, this is very, very interesting as we've got all kinds of moving and shaking here in the 1st round. Sam Laporta went off the board before Darnell Washington and Michael Mayer, and now you've got the Raiders trading up to 35. Here's my quick thoughts on this. I am not going to bury Will Levis. I'm not going to say it was a dumb pick. I think he could be really, really good, and I've talked a lot on our show throughout the last few months, Austin, about, what the ceiling is for Will Levis. And while there are major red flags and major concerns, what he could be. That said, while I didn't want him at 11, I didn't want him in the 1st round. I think here it is very much worth a pick. I don't think this is bad value. Where I struggle with this is not necessarily Levis in the 2nd round, because I think there's good value there. It is the fact that you are now waiting until 86 before you get your first offensive weapon, if they even go that direction right there. Like we diagnosed before the offseason what an issue was at wide receiver and how you needed to add pass catchers to your offense. You didn't get one in free agency until the very end with veteran Chris Moore. And, this seemed like it should have been a priority coming into the draft, but you go O-line and then you go quarterback. So right now that wide receiver room doesn't look any better, and you're looking at one more pick left before the 5th round. I mean, you're basically punting on a lot of the top receivers and hoping you can find a guy with a depth pick later on. We'll see who's there. But I think if there's a criticism of this move, it's the fact that you had an opportunity to go get Michael Mayer or Darnell Washington or Cedric Tillman or Josh Downs or somebody who makes an immediate impact in your offense, and you go for Will Levis. Now, if he ends up being the guy, nobody cares, but we'll see. And I do think there is some legitimacy to your concern, Austin, that if you didn't love him at 11, what makes you love him at 33? But fascinating stuff. I'm happy for the content, and I've been wishing this on Tennessee Volunteers fans for ages now. I've been cooking it up, so we will see. But I think the criticism is of what you missed out on and not necessarily what you got. 2 quick super chats because we got to make sure we hit these today. Yeah. Connor says, I called it when you guys asked the question during the morning show this morning, and I'm not happy about it. And then Kane says, y'all will suck for the next 4 years. This will suck. And for the next 4 years, I will remind everyone. Well, Kane, you got every right to do that, man. That's part of draft season, right? You live and you die with your guys, and you're not my guys. So Will Levis, not Kane's guy. Will everybody be correct, or will Will Levis prove all the haters wrong? I think he deserves a fair shot either way.
Totally agree, Sam. And you mentioned it from a content side of things. I'm not so worried about that. I'm from Nashville. I grew up a Titans fan. They had to get a quarterback sooner or later. Look, you kick the can down the road for another offseason. Who knows where the Titans end up in the draft next year? Who knows if there's the right prospect there in the first round? Just because he wasn't taken in the first round doesn't mean the Titans weren't convinced that he was their guy. I think that they just got lucky for him to slip into round 2.
Yeah, but if he's a quarterback, though, like that's my whole thing. Like if you don't like the quarterback at 11, then I feel like that's a half. That's like a half in. Like
it's not that they didn't. They probably that's probably not true. They just like Skoronski better. Skoronski's not falling to round 2. You go ahead and you get a guy like Skoronski, great value pick, one of the few elite graded PFF draft picks in the first round. And Levis falls to you in the second round. I don't think this is like the sky is not falling in Nashville. You get a new shot with the quarterback. The window restarts a little bit.
Levis can make a splash. This is make a splash. Jack talking here. This is do it just to do it. Jack here talking. This is like the best of both worlds for the Sam and Jack reunion here after all the bickering we did last night. I was pumped to get my guy Skoronski. Jack wanted a splash. Now he's got his splash at 33, and Austin's just sitting there with his arms crossed.
I feel like this is a half-in quarterback decision. Like you had a chance. Like if you would have taken your quarterback at 11 and you taking Will Levis there, I would say, you know what? You like him enough to take him at 11. Okay, I can at least understand that. I might not like it, but I can at least understand taking Will Levis at 11, but passing on him and then moving up again on day 2 to go get him makes me feel like they're totally not all in on Will Levis.
I disagree. I wrote a Titans checklist, what they can do today. The first thing on it, you can't be a halfway crook. There's no such thing as a halfway crook. You're either all in on a quarterback or you're all out. But by trading up to go get Levis, I mean, that's an all-in move. There were reports that the Titans were trying to trade up at the back end of the first round last night. They didn't have to. So just because they didn't trade up in the back end of the first round, they were still interested in Levis. He just slipped to them at 33 overall. Like they would have taken him in round 1 if there was a team ready to draft a quarterback.
I don't want any football team to be interested in a quarterback. I want them to be in love with the quarterback. The Titans were interested, and John Robinson basically said this last year. The Titans were interested in Malik Willis at 86 overall because he fell. They had a bonus third round pick, and they took a quarterback that had a high upside. It was an easy gamble to make that. I don't want the Titans to just be interested in Will Levis. I want you to fall in love with the guy, and by passing on him, it makes me feel bad. All right, let's kind of reset here. There's a ton of people flying in here, which is great. Hey, Big Ten Jeff is over here on YouTube, says he's watching from 35,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean as Jeff is flying to Rome, like actual Rome right now. So that's kind of fun. So we're up in the sky with Big Ten Jeff right there. But I want to play a cut up from A to Z Sports Film Room analyst James Foster on Will Levis. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds. It's really interesting, and we'll see how people feel about it after this. So we'll get you guys more involved in the chat here in a second, but here's James Foster of A to Z Sports Film Room on new Titans quarterback at 33 overall, former Kentucky quarterback Will Levis.
I try to avoid listening to other draft analysis before I've had a chance to watch the tape myself because I don't want to develop biases or opinions that aren't based on what I see on film, but it was impossible to ignore all the negativity surrounding Will Levis. Heading into this video, I was expecting him to be somewhat of a scrub, and so I was surprised to see that he actually does check a lot of the boxes that you want for a first-round quarterback prospect. He has elite arm talent. There are a lot of comparisons to Josh Allen, and I don't think Levis's arm is as explosive, but he can easily push the ball 55 to 60 yards downfield. And what's most impressive about Will Levis is that he doesn't need a clean pocket to step into to get these throws off. You can see on this play against Northern Illinois, he sidesteps the pressure to the left, and then he's able to throw this fade route with perfect accuracy as he's moving in the opposite direction. But the reason that I say Will Levis has elite arm talent and not just elite arm strength is because of the control that he has over touch and ball placement. Throwing the ball 30 yards like he does on this play isn't really impressive for an NFL quarterback prospect, but he's able to deliver it with enough elevation to get over these underneath defenders, and then it just drops into the catching window. A lot of younger quarterbacks with big arms throw line drives in these situations, and if the defensive back's able to turn around, then it's an interception. But you can see on this play again, there's enough elevation so that Keely Ringo can't make a play on the ball, but then it drops right at the end of the sideline so his receiver can come down with it.
Titans quarterback Will Levis from A to Z Sports Film Room analyst James Foster. We'll get to your reaction to that here in a second. So, Sam, I'm going to go to you first and get your reaction. Then, Jack, we'll get your reaction as well. The Titans did trade up to 33 overall to get former Kentucky quarterback Will Levis right there in the top of the second round. And before I get to your reaction and all of your reaction in the chat, everybody, let me tell you guys about our great sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh, guys, takes the hassle out of mealtime this spring by delivering you pre-portioned ingredients and easy to prepare recipes right to your door. You can save 25% with HelloFresh compared to takeout, Sam. I know you're a big takeout guy. We were just talking about it before we went live. HelloFresh helps you save 25% less. You can spend less time in the kitchen with quick and easy meals like HelloFresh fast and fresh pineapple chicken tacos, falafel power bowls, ready in 15 minutes or less. It's so easy. I've done it in the past during the draft season with HelloFresh. Great tasting, fast, and easy to cook meals right there for you. So here you do this. Go to HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50. That's HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50. Use code ATOZ50 for 50% off, plus your first box ships free right there, thanks to HelloFresh. So, Sam, I will let you now react to Will Levis being the pick by the Titans at 33 overall in a trade up with Arizona.
Well, listen, the pros are the pros, the body type, the arm strength, the toughness, the leadership. These are things that Will Levis has demonstrated. The confidence, which is a characteristic that I thought might have impressed Mike Vrabel a lot when he got to sit down with him at a top 30 visit. I think this is really good value at 33, considering the prospect that this guy was on a lot of draft boards. My concern is what you missed out on, because wide receiver, you haven't made an adjustment yet, and this second round has just been all chaos. But Michael Myers come off the board, Sam Laporta's come off the board, and you have to wonder now, as 41 is getting closer and closer, what the Titans could have added, what the Titans could have done to their wide receiver room, to their offense with the tight end, or just a position of need at 41. And Will Levis better be worth it if you're passing on that opportunity and, giving Ryan Tannehill now one less weapon to work with in a year that you are hoping to contend.
Man, this is growing on me already. And
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Sam, we talked about this last night, how we were cool. We were cool if the Titans wanted to go Levis, if that's what it came down to. Levis's numbers in 2022, I think really, it makes you forget about 2021. But in 2021, he had some big time performances. 14 of 17 against LSU, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, no picks against Georgia, 76 pass completion percentage. And he had a big game against Tennessee in a loss, 3 touchdowns, 300.
Yeah, but he threw a pick 6 that lost in the game there, Jack.
That's fine. Look, college quarterbacks are going to make mistakes. Will Levis is not completely polished. He's not a finished product. None of these guys are. But he gives you a chance. Life after Tannehill, we were talking about how just the Titans were one of a handful of teams who had no idea in what direction they were going at the quarterback position. Everyone around the league, and especially in the AFC where there's 10-plus Pro Bowl quarterbacks, They've got a clue for the next few years. The Titans didn't have that. Now they do.
Well, listen, that's an interesting point because I do believe in this idea. And Titan 70 says, should we be expected to trade Tanny now? I don't think so. I don't think you think so either, Austin. I mean, it's certainly a possibility. We'll see what the offers are like. And maybe, right? Like that. Now you have 3 quarterbacks with Will Levis, Malik Willis, and Ryan Tannehill. So are the Titans all the way out on Malik Willis that they're just prepared to, carry 3 QBs or not have him on the roster? Or where are they at with Ryan Tannehill? I don't love the pick, but do you think we can trade up and get a wide receiver, says Jamar? I mean, maybe, but trading up at this point, like you just gave up a 3rd round pick next year to go and get Levis. Moving up in the 3rd round to go and get a guy might cost you more picks this year or more picks next year. That's risky business if you're Rand Carthon. And then our last one here is Connor saying, can you guys name a team with the worst wide receiver room than the Titans? He's hard-pressed to find one, a missed opportunity. I think that's a good point, right? And that's what I would chalk this up as. This is a missed opportunity for the Titans to get a very good playmaker in their offense, even if it was at 33. If you trade up to 33 and take Michael Mayer, I am over the moon pumped up about what the Titans are building right now. But listen, they're not trading up and taking a quarterback just to take a quarterback. They're not making a splash just to make a splash like Jack wanted them to do yesterday. Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel sat down with this guy. So they see something in him that they believe warrants a 2nd round pick. And, from the reports that we heard, them trying to trade back into the 1st round pick, like into the 1st round. So when you look at production, yes, his numbers weren't great. There are obvious concerns with his ability to take care of the football. There are obvious traits that he has that you love as like a future piece of your team potentially. And ultimately, Rand Carthon, Mike Vrabel, after meeting with him at a top 30 visit and figuring out what his processing is like, we know he tested high on the S2 score. They've decided he's a guy they can see taking the reins from Ryan Tannehill after a year of learning, potentially, right? Maybe we'll see what happens with Ryan Tannehill, but they're not just doing this to do this. Mike Vrabel doesn't like to waste picks. Rand Carthon said it in his press conference. He wants a guy who's going to come and play. So this is where the Titans are, and I think Will Levis deserves a shot to be this franchise's next QB because he was highly thought of by all these scouts for a reason that some fans may not understand, but Rand Carthon deserves the benefit of the doubt, and Will Levis deserves the benefit of the doubt in terms of his NFL career and what he's capable of.
And it's not a one-man show in that war room either. I mean, there's a 50-50 collaboration between Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon. So for those of you who are getting on to Rand Carthon, this isn't just him. Like Vrabel has just as much of a say in there, so does Amy Adams Strunk, as Carthon. If you're going to get mad at Carthon, get mad at Vrabel. He's just as involved in there. I think it makes a ton of sense. You don't give up a 1st or a 2nd in future drafts. You get a quarterback. And if one of these playmakers, whether it's a wide receiver or tight end, can get to you in the 3rd round, I mean, that should eliminate all complaints here. If you get the right pass catcher, that should eliminate all complaints. You walk out of here with a new quarterback, a stud offensive lineman, and a capable pass catcher. That checks all 3 boxes I had coming into this draft.
So repeat that, because you just said and we were going to get to this, but we didn't have a chance to because the Titans traded up to number 33 overall to take Will Levis. So go through those real quick again, Jack, of what you said with the boxes to check for the Titans tonight.
Well, coming in, I had a checklist, and I said, number 1 on the list, there's no such thing as a halfway crook. You can't be halfway in on a quarterback. You're either all in or you're all out. Trading up to go get him proves to me that the Titans were all in. Not at 11 overall, but that's okay. The second on my list, you remember Delaney Walker's famous words, draft a freaking tight end, draft a freaking wide receiver. You got to do it. And it's got to be in round 3.
Well, listen, do we think that the Titans not taking Levis at 11 is more of them saying they didn't like Levis at 11, or more of them saying they loved Peter Skoronski that much, a guy who they said they didn't think would be there, that they just had to take the opportunity in front of them to stick with that guy? I mean, for all we know, they could have been prepared to take Will Levis, assuming Peter Skoronski was going to come off the board, and you see a guy that you identify as a blue chipper at a position of need. I mean, that's really interesting. And I'm fascinated to hear from Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon about that process of not going QB, but then, how do you just like, where was the evaluation?
All right.
They were not going to tell you where he was on their draft board, but just an idea of like what their thought process was in not taking Levis in the first, but then moving up in the second.
So here's kind of how I feel about this. The Titans don't love Will Levis enough to gamble with not getting him. That's where I struggle with this. Is that if they loved Will Levis and thought Will Levis could be their franchise quarterback, then you don't let him leave at 11 overall. Like,
but Austin, there's a level of risk reward to this, right? Like,
I'm not done because like, seriously, if you think that Will Levis is the guy and you're willing to invest in Will Levis to be your franchise quarterback for the future, and you just say, well, let's just let him go and see what happens, and you don't love him enough, then I think then you are automatically questioning your thoughts about the quarterback. In my opinion, quarterback is the only position that I feel like you can think about it like this, because everybody thought, and we all understand this, that Will Levis was a first round caliber quarterback prospect, whether he was worth the 3rd overall pick, 4th overall pick, 7th, or whatever, 11th. But you still thought, I don't like him enough to go at 11. Let's just, let it hang. Let it hang.
I hate to do this.
See if he comes back like a boomerang.
I hate to do this comparison because it obviously didn't work out for the team that did it, but I think off the field had a lot to do with it more than anything else. But we saw this with Cleveland and Johnny Manziel in 2014, where they picked at 9 and the Browns fans were up there saying, Johnny, Johnny, Johnny. And the commissioner comes out and says, Justin Gilbert, cornerback, Oklahoma State. And then pick 24 comes around and turns out Johnny Manziel is still there. And the Browns trade back into the first round to go and get the QB. I think there's a risk reward balance as the Titans or as any team who's trying to be, smart with their picks of saying, hey, we can't afford to miss or have a player that doesn't contribute immediately for us at 11. And that might have weighed into their decision to take Peter Skoronski, who they are very confident is going to be a Pro Bowl caliber offensive lineman for them for 5+ years to come. Mm-hmm. And so they say, well, we like Will. We're comfortable with Will at 11, but we can't miss on this one. So let's take the guy that we know is still is going to hit. And then later on, Will Levis is still on the board in the first round. Like I said, Austin, we got reports that the Titans were calling, trying to find their way into that first round. They couldn't get a deal done to go get him. Now in the second round, you go get your guy. So I think this is a matter of in the second round, and for the price that it cost them, which was not very much to move up and get this guy, you're absolutely worth it's a risk worth taking given the upside and the obvious need at QB after 2023.
All right, real quick. Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver from Ole Miss, just goes to the Carolina Panthers at pick 38. So we're still watching the rest of the NFL draft as it goes. I do want to get to this, guys, because again, the chat's flying. We got a lot of people in here, a lot of comments going, and we're trying to keep our eye on super chats. And I'm trying to keep my cool and not freak out about having to watch Will Levis over the next 4 years, try to be the Titans quarterback of the future. So I do want to ask this question. What's one word to describe how you feel about the Titans trading up for Will Levis? What is one word to describe how you feel about the Titans trading up for quarterback Will Levis? We'll get to all of your comments here momentarily, but first I'm going to tell you guys about the Aura app that I have downloaded, and I am reaping the benefits, guys, because Aura is all about keeping you safe online and getting all of those robocallers and spammers and telemarketers and junk mailers out of your life. And how about this? Aura found 30 data brokers who had my information and actively removed 29 out of the 30 already. Data brokers are the ones that profit from selling your info to those robocallers, telemarketers, spammers, junk mailers, all of those people. So they're helping me out have a clean life when it comes to nuances and nonsense that comes through my phone. So our sponsor, Aura, will identify those data brokers and opt you out on your behalf. They have almost every internet safety tool you'll ever need inside of one app, including VPN and password manager. Let Aura do all the hard work of keeping you safe online. And if you sign up with our code today, that's aura.com/ATOZ. I just posted it right there in the chat, aura.com/ATOZ. It's also in the description. You get 2 weeks free with the Aura app. That's 2 weeks free with aura.com/ATOZ. So Sam, I'll let you do your thing and go to the chat. One word to describe how you feel about the Titans drafting Will Levis in the second round.
We have a million comments.
I know.
I'm going to throw 3 super chats up real quick before let's get to these before we go to the chat. So Kane said analytics mean absolutely nothing with this pick. What analytics did we talk about? Like what, I guess, what the upside is of Levis's arm talent and his size. I don't think those are analytics as much as they're measurables, and they are tape. Like some of the accuracy is inconsistent, but we've seen Will Levis make some really, really incredible throws, and I'll throw up the B-reel while we do it. And let's take a look at this one right here. Look at this arm strength. Look at that ball placement. That is the plus side. And by the way, a ball, I'll run that back real quick. Notice what happens at the end of this play. Part of the reason that competition supporting cast matters, that's a perfect ball, and it's an incomplete pass. So that's a 50-yard touchdown for Will Levis's stat sheet.
That was also against Northern Illinois.
All right, you want to go? You start talking about the Huskies. All right, I will tussle if you're
how many colleges are you a fan of there, Sam? But I want to interrupt.
Northern Illinois football with a light.
I don't want to get into that. Go back to your analysis.
All right,
go back to your analysis.
You see that play action pass? That's what Ryan Tannehill did in 2020. I want more of that. You got Derrick Henry in the backfield. Use him as a decoy when you're not running the ball and get a quarterback who can take deep shots and hit him. Watch this right here.
Play action pass, drop back, 2 steps up, flick of the wrist.
Ease.
It's 50 yards downfield and in the breadbasket. So these are not analytics. This is tape. This is the upside of Will Levis. This is what he can do. Jack, close your eyes. There's a perfect ball.
It's all right.
Against Vandy. This is a guy who can develop and be a great pocket passer.
In the pocket getting hit. I mean, this guy's making all these throws while standing in the pocket. Malik Willis was running for his life. I mean, even with clean pockets, this guy's standing in there, taking hits, delivering deep balls. I love this.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this guy's the perfect quarterback prospect or that this is some home run. We'll see, right? We have to let this play out on the football field. But this is not analytics. That is, why Will Levis might be good. This is tape that coaches and scouts are seeing. And like I said, a sit down and in-depth meetings that Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel had with this quarterback to figure out what is he seeing? When is he making what throws and why? Sam the Man says he missed Austin's reaction. Austin's reaction was pretty much what he's doing right now, which is silence.
So
a shake of the head.
We'll get to this. We'll get to this because we asked the question, what's one word to describe how you feel about the Titans drafting Will Levis, and we'll get to all your comments here. And yeah, John, you're right with that super chat. I did have a dream Saturday night / Sunday morning about a week ago that the Titans got Will Levis, but at 11, and I texted that to Jim Wyatt, and then I also wrote down on a sticky note my rule for the draft, and it was not Will Levis no matter what. And so my one word, guys, is regret, because I have that out there on the internet because I tweeted it out last night and it blew up. And so now the Titans have Will Levis at 33 overall as their quarterback. So my one word is regret. It's twofold, right? Am I going to regret what I said and what I've talked about with Will Levis for the last 7 months, or are the Titans going to regret trading up and going to get Will Levis in the second round? Which regret is going to happen? So that's my one word, is regret, and it could go either way.
Here's some of the chat's words here. We've got optimistic, future, intrigued, garbage, nauseated, Herbert, arrogant, depressed, suck, pissed. We have good. We have hooker. We have suck. We have value, sick, trash. We have heartbreaking. We have confused, we have forced, we have skeptical, suspenseful, resetting, opportunistic, intrigued, methodical, perfect. Jake Hughes with a perfect. Jake Hughes might be one of the more optimistic comments I've heard from Jake Hughes in the recent time, but he's in on Will Levis. Suffice.
Nothing about
from
Will
Embiid.
Levis is perfect. Maybe his haircut.
We have
That's about it.
Hater.
we
You're a
have
hater.
we have mistake, value, excited, optimistic, curiosity. We have another suck, nightmare, devastated, mayonnaise. Good one there. Telling. We have heartbreaking, preparing, terrified, why, tank, hopeful, flabbergasted, ninja, faith, leave, peaked, garbage, excited, interesting, all over the freaking map. But you can't say this one's boring. You cannot say that this one is boring at all. What else?
Or
do we
scared,
have?
Jack. You can't say
No.
scared either.
Can't say it's scared, and you can't say it's boring. So I need a full rescind from Jack Gentry on what he was saying about Rand Carthon last night, that they didn't get Will Levis at 11. You called him scared for not getting Will Levis at 11. Look what happened. Here we go.
I slept on it. I listened to Skoronski today. He sounds like the man. I am all in on Skoronski now. My one word, I saw one similar in the chat. Prepared. The Tennessee Titans are prepared for life without Ryan Tannehill. They have a plan moving forward. You're not stuck here wondering what they're going to do. Is the right quarterback going to fall to them next year? Are they going to overpay in free agency for a veteran? You don't have to worry about any of that because the Titans are prepared for the future. Will Levis, Austin, you said you didn't like it because the Titans weren't in love with him enough to go get him in round one. But what if they were just reading the board right? What if they knew where he was going?
Read the board. Yeah, come on. I think, Rand Carthon knew that Jahmyr Gibbs was going to go 12 to the Detroit Lions, and then they were going to go with Matt Campbell. Yeah, Rand Carthon is brilliant and is a psychic because he read the board that well, that knew that Will Levis was going to be available at 33 overall from the trade up. That's just
come on.
That's why people are saying people are saying opportunistic though, right? I mean, like you found an opportunity to get a player that you obviously liked a good bit. You took advantage of the opportunity. You're
not trying to be opportunistic with your franchise quarterback of the future. You're trying to be like sold and all in. If they didn't, I feel that there's a sliver of doubt in the Tennessee Titans organization in Will Levis. Because if there wasn't, he would have been their pick last night.
I don't know. It's hard to say
tell
that
me
and
I'm
watch
wrong.
him go. It's hard to say that and watch him go undrafted
wrong.
through the whole first round.
But
it's hard to say that they should have taken him at 11 when he didn't get picked the entire first round. I mean, he was one pick off from a traditional first round draft pick. He was 33rd overall.
Yeah, but tell me I'm wrong. That
You're wrong.
If there's a sliver of doubt, because if there wasn't a sliver, they would have taken him last night at 11, right? If they were sold on Will Levis, then it would have been stupid to not take him at 11.
Well, so you would like him at 11 more than you like him at 33? That just doesn't add up to me.
No. I wouldn't have liked him at 11. I don't think Will Levis is going to be a starting level quarterback in the NFL. What I said at the beginning of the show is that I would have understood and been fine with the thought process of knowing that they think they're all in on Will Levis to be the guy. But there's a sliver of doubt because they didn't take him at 11.
I just disagree with it. I think if you can get him at 33, that's great. If you go grab him at 11, people are going to be even more upset. You got an offensive lineman now who you can trust for at least 4 or 5 years. I mean, he may jump in and be the best blocker on that offensive line. A thing to like about Levis, he's had a handful of different offensive coordinators. He's played in a bunch of different systems in college. So, he can learn on the fly. I mean, hell, the Titans rotate offensive coordinators like it's nobody's business. He's seen a lot. He's had to do a lot. And last year at Kentucky, maybe he had to do too much, which is what resulted in some sloppy decision-making and some turnovers. I'm with Sam. I think you got to give him a fair shot. I like what the Titans did with this without giving up a first rounder or a second rounder in the future. It makes a lot of sense to me.
This is the thing that I'm fascinated in seeing when I get a chance to speak next with Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel, and hopefully somebody else at St. Thomas Sports Park is already preparing to ask this question. But what is the thought process, right? How close were they to picking him at 11? Obviously they're not going to say, like I said earlier, like where they had him on their draft board, but it is a very fascinating situation where a guy who was heavily mocked to you at a certain spot, you passed on but then you're aggressive and going to get later on in the draft. So does that mean that, there were flaws that you were worried about? Was the other guy just too good to take? Like, I'm very curious to hear what the thought process was and what went on inside the Titans draft room about like noticing that you had Will Levis falling and then ultimately making a move to go and make him a Tennessee Titan. Yeah, and another tight end, by the way, off the board, that's not Darnell Washington, with Green Bay selecting Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State.
Yeah, so the Titans could have stayed at 41 and gotten Darnell Washington or a receiver not named Jonathan Mingo of their choice there if they wanted to. So Ryan Fields, I want to throw this up there. He says Levis is a Pro Bowl MVP future level player.
I hope so. I mean, that's hard to predict.
And then he's also going to, he'll make the playoffs in his first year as a starter next season. And then he'll take the Titans to the Super Bowl in his third year. And then he'll sign a contract with the Titans and making the richest quarterback in NFL history. That was Jalen Hurts 3 weeks ago, right? No, I do not think that Will Levis is a MVP future level player. That's Ryan Fields, who I know because he's watched the show for years, is a massive Kentucky fan. So grain of salt on that. Let's see. Brandon also says, come on, got to have a little faith in Levis, Austin. Come on. It's not my job to have faith in anything the Titans do. It's my job to talk about what the Titans do with my opinion. It's fans' jobs to have faith in what the Titans do because they're fans of the team. So more super chat. Danny says, with a wide receiver, tight end, a lock for the third, are we the Titans setting up for next year, possible trades incoming? Sam, what do you think about that, of having to go pass catcher in the third round? Because I will say this, the one thing I like about the trade up is that you did not lose your second pick tonight, that you still have the opportunity to go get somebody there.
Yeah, with a wide receiver, a lock, are we setting up for next year, possible trades incoming? A wide receiver tight end is a lock. I mean,
it better
like
be.
God,
you are taking a pass catcher in the third round. If you don't, I'm not sure how you explain it or sell your team in 2023. Like, you cannot look people in the eyes and say, we expect to compete for a division title with Nick Westbrook-Ikine as your wide receiver 2 and Kyle Phillips, who's had about 40 career snaps or whatever it is, in the Titans offense, as your wide receiver 3. Now, I like Kyle Phillips and what he was able to do when healthy. I like Nick Westbrook-Ikine for what he is, Jack. I know you made a face. He's not a wide receiver 2 on a contending. It's your guy, so, you don't have to make a comment. Yeah,
I'm not blinded by it, though.
I like NWI, for what he is. He's made a great career for himself, but you need to add to this wide receiver core and add some pass catchers for Ryan Tannehill. And if you fail to do so in the first 4 rounds of the draft, because the Titans don't have a 4th round pick, how are you supposed to look people in the eye and sell that we're going to compete for an AFC South title? You don't. So yeah, they're taking a pass catcher in the next round. Have to.
They have to. Let's see more comments, because I had Weiss says, remember A to Z called 3 QBs going to the AFC South. I mean, yeah, it felt that way, right? We felt that, you knew the Colts had to, you knew the Texans kind of had to, even though they talked about not for like a couple days. And then the Titans were the one team that did not have to, but they ended up doing it because they took Will Levis tonight, moving up from 41 to 33 there. So, okay, William Young, can you just, instead of commenting, hey, read my super chat, can you just re-comment the chat? Just don't pay for it. Just re-comment that, please. We missed it, man. We've got a bunch of people in here. Last night we had 7,000 comments.
I blinked for 2 seconds. We had 110 unread comments.
Right.
So
again, we had over 7,000 live comments last night. That's not an exaggeration. So we're not trying to skip your super chat. So just re-comment it again, and hopefully we can see it, because we're not trying to do you dirty.
I'm watching for it now, William. I'm watching for it.
Chris, again, I don't like this pick. So real quick, as we wait for William, I don't like the pick of Will Levis. I wouldn't have liked it at 11. You guys asked me last night, would there be a time in a pick that I would have liked Will Levis to be picked by the Titans? And I said no. So I'm being consistent. I wouldn't have liked him in the second round. I wouldn't have liked him in the third round, because I just didn't think it. If you passed on him once, then you didn't think he was the future. So that's my opinion on that. Sam, I'll let you go with your opinion, and then Jack, hit yours.
Well, is the toe an issue too? I mean, that was something that we heard a lot about, that certain teams might have been concerned about, which was credited to his fall. So does that factor into the Titans passing on him at 11? Overall, I keep coming back to two things. Number one, I think they missed a big opportunity to add a legitimate weapon here to their offense. But number two, I am not going to sell out Will Levis at this point. I'm not going to boo him out of Nissan Stadium. I think this guy deserves a very fair chance to show Titans fans what he's made of, because Rand Carthon is a new general manager that deserves the benefit of the doubt. And if he liked him enough, Titans fans need to give him a chance too, regardless if he played for Kentucky, regardless if he didn't have great numbers in college. He's your quarterback now, and he's going to be in the future based on what the Titans have invested in him with a high second-round pick. So give him a shot. Let's see what he's got on the football field. And I am more than willing to retract it if he doesn't look good in rookie minicamp or the preseason or whatever. But, this is exciting, and I am happy to have something exciting and potentially optimistic to look forward to, because whether or not you have a lot of faith in him or not, there's at least a glimmer of hope that he could be the answer for the Titans' new era at quarterback.
Yeah, I'm with you, Sam. I thought this was, whether it's a necessary evil, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know that Levis gets this much. The drafting Levis gets this much blowback if Hendon Hooker wasn't available. I'm not saying, Austin, that's your take. I know where you stand on this.
Yeah.
But since you're so strongly opposed, and I think everyone who's been watching knows that I'm on board with Levis here, I want to ask you, Austin, what is it about Levis, the football player, that bothers you so much, or that maybe you don't see fitting in here in Tennessee?
Yeah, because Jake Hughes has been asking, what's wrong with his game? Why don't I like Will Levis as a player? I think he's got traits, right? I think he's got the tools, physically. I think he's a bad decision maker. And if you're a bad decision maker in college, those decisions are just going to get harder in the NFL. And I see him, and I've watched a lot of Kentucky games. And again, I want you guys to believe me when I'm about to say this. Me being a Tennessee graduate and Will Levis playing at Kentucky has nothing to do with my opinion about Will Levis as an NFL quarterback prospect.
But that's not everybody.
No, I know. I'm just saying it up front because I'm sitting here talking about why I don't like the pick. I've watched too many times where Will Levis in Kentucky have a lot of expectations on them and they come up short. They do everything they can. And look, I like what Stoops has done by building the program at Kentucky. They've gotten dudes. They have a lot of expectations, but Will Levis has not been able to carry them to meet those expectations the last couple of years. He had a better year 2 years ago than he had this past year. 24 touchdowns to 13 interceptions as a junior. 13 picks is a lot, guys. And then he followed that up with 10 interceptions in 2 less games this past year. So he's almost an interception a game player at Kentucky. And you can excuse it by saying, oh, well, he's trying to force things. If you're an interception thrower at volume in college, you're going to be an interception thrower at volume in the NFL. That's just how it's going to be. And it's been timely turnovers, not just the fact that he throws interceptions or he fumbles. It's a pick six against Tennessee in Lexington, where Alontae Taylor takes it back to ice the game for the Vols. It's in a shootout, right, where he had a good game other than that. It's the fumble and the weird play at Ole Miss this past year that cost them the chance at that game. It's sitting up there, and the way he reacted to the Tennessee loss this past year made me question a little bit too. It's how bad he played in Knoxville this past year that makes me question whether this guy can hang in NFL environments week after week, year after year. I think he's got physical tools. He's got traits. He's got the pass and the arm talent. He's got the ability to have great elevation and have the ball drop in a bucket. But it's all those intangibles that I just don't trust with Will Levis.
I think the turnover, speaking specifically about the turnover issue, when you have arm talent like Will Levis has, and some of these quarterbacks that have come out in years past with a big arm, they like to take risks. They like to take gambles. Sometimes that results in interceptions. When you're playing in the SEC, that results in turnovers. I mean, there's great defenders. There's first-round DBs that play in the SEC that Levis has had trouble against. I think that part can be worked out. You just have a big arm, you want to use it. But I don't know. We in the NFL with talented quarterbacks who have the traits, they always get passes for, just churning out, different offensive coordinators, playing in different systems, no head coach consistency, just a lot of turnover. But for Will Levis, it seems like we're not willing to, talk about that. It's just straight up box score warrior stuff. And I know we've all watched tape on Levis. We've seen him enough. We watched him in a handful of games. But I mean, he played in an entirely new system for the last season. Like it's got to be taken into account for. The decision making could have something to do with that. Could have something to do with taking gambles with arm talent. I think you coach that out of him, and we've seen Tim Kelly do that with Davis Mills. I mean, Will Levis has so many more, physical attributes than what Davis Mills has to work with in Houston. He made Davis Mills look like a competent starter in the NFL. We all saw what happened to Mills last season without Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly also worked with Deshaun Watson. Now, him and Levis don't have a lot in common, but I mean, it's two different quarterbacks that Tim Kelly has kind of coached up into looking better than probably what they should have looked like. I think he can do it with Levis. Levis is mentally, I think he's ahead of the game, having to work in that many systems. I just think that there's a lot to work with Levis. And even though he didn't show it in 2022, there's reason to believe that he can be coached up and coached out of some of these decisions. I mean, with a year under Ryan Tannehill, who does a better job at taking care of the football than most quarterbacks in the NFL, I think that's a huge advantage for Levis moving forward to where he's possibly asked to start in 2024.
Yeah. So I want to go back to this because I did see somebody comment that say that Will Levis took poverty Kentucky football and won 10 games, right? So 2 seasons ago in 2021, Kentucky was a 9-3 regular season. They won their bowl game against Iowa to get to 10-3 on the season. But we watch, Jack, this, Kentucky's non-conference schedule is a complete joke. Kentucky did this as they were coming up through Mark Stoops. And look, they did it the right way to win games. That's how you should build a bad program into a respectable program. Schedule cupcake non-conferences to stack some wins and try to get to a bowl game to build your program that way. But Will Levis, to get to 10 wins, he beat Louisiana Monroe, Chattanooga, Louisiana State, New Mexico State. Then he had to win over Vanderbilt. And Jack, that's, you understand that. He beat a Florida team that fired Dan Mullen. And by the way, he went 7-17 for 1 touchdown, 87 yards and a pick against a bad Florida football team. He beat South Carolina. That was a first-year head coach. He beat Missouri, but it was also a first-year head coach. So there's a lot of wins there that you're just like, I mean, Kentucky.
I don't put a lot of stock in team success for quarterback prospects.
Look, I'm not trying to say, and that's what I'm trying to. I agree that I don't think wins all the time is fair to put up against a quarterback. But when you look at moments and you look at, has this guy been able to help his team win enough games? I don't see Will Levis as somebody who's been able to elevate his football team in massive moments.
I just got a couple holes in that argument.
We got a couple super chats to get here. Chill Mode Backs Austin says, Austin, you're right. Y'all always preach if he's your guy, you go get your guy. So something happened. It's weird you guys trying to talk this pickup. Listen.
People are just against Levis. They can't be talked into it. I'm not trying to talk anyone.
It's not about trying to talk up a pick. It's more of, I don't necessarily think Will Levis wasn't a guy that the Titans really liked a lot because they did go up to get a guy that, is now their guy. And they were clearly, Mike Vrabel, Rand Carthon, comfortable with Will Levis in the second round and actually comfortable with Will Levis in the first round with how much they tried to move up to go get him. So this is not a matter of whether or not, I think it goes without saying he is their guy in some aspects because they traded up to get him. Danny says, let's not forget they also trade up for Malik. I wonder where the analytics differ in this one. Well, this is also John Robinson made that pick.
And they did not trade up for Malik.
And they got him in the third round at their own
totally
pick.
Different players.
Yeah. Very different situation, different GM. But then we have another comp here that John says sounds like Austin is afraid of a Malik repeat, which I think is true to some degree, Austin, how you've talked about how Malik, and I was very much in this boat too, that if you are against or if you are saying you're competing in a given season and in a contention window, drafting a backup quarterback doesn't really serve your need in that moment, which is what John Robinson tried to do with Malik. He tried to get great value on the next franchise guy. Malik didn't work, and the Titans didn't work, and that's why he doesn't have a job. But
real quick on that, and because I and Jack, we were on the draft show last year talking about this. I did not like the Malik Willis pick. I thought it was a waste of an opportunity, especially after you traded AJ Brown the day before.
Yeah.
Right. Like you needed, like the only reason why I was like, okay, I get it, is because it was the second third round pick. You had NPF as a third round pick, and this was a bonus selection for Malik, a guy who fell at 86, and it obviously didn't work out. And the Titans will have to do something with Malik Willis pretty soon. I don't think he's getting any trade value. He's got a guaranteed contract as a third round pick.
Or is it Ryan Tannehill, right? I mean, is it Ryan Tannehill or is it Malik Willis? You'll have to find out. They're picking between the two, and it'll give you a good sense of their direction. The real issue would be if you start Will Levis and it doesn't work, and then you're picking at the top of the draft next year, and then it's like, well, do you give him another shot or do you go get your quarterback? Fans will probably be wanting the quarterback at that time. Kane says he's got $5,000 he'll put up that Will Levis will suck and he will not get him over the hump. What's up, Sam and Jack? Listen, Kane, I'm not here to tell you he's not going to suck or that he's going to get the Titans over the hump. I'm here to tell you where the upside is. I'm here to tell you what the Titans see in this guy. I'm here to talk about why they felt confident enough to make this move. And, here to tell you that Ran Carthon deserves the benefit of the doubt. And I'm not going to sit here and say, this guy sucks, that guy doesn't suck. I wasn't the biggest Will Levis supporter. He was my 4th ranked quarterback in this draft class. I was very loud about CJ Stroud, and Austin and I did a show about a month ago where I had to pick between Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. And I said, I'm an Anthony Richardson guy because I like the elite traits that he brings to the table. Will Levis has some strong traits, but he doesn't have the athleticism that can really take him to the next level ceiling of Richardson. I'm not here to tell you that this is the Titans franchise quarterback, but I am here to tell you that you need to give him a chance because your new regime believes in him. And I think he deserves as fair of a shot as anybody to go and prove himself on the football field.
Here's my stance on the whole Will Levis didn't get a marquee win in college. It's a fair concern. It's okay to be worried about that. But
I only brought that up because somebody was putting that in his pro column, right?
Okay. That's okay.
I'm not putting it in his pro or his con column. It just doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay. That's how you should feel because how many great quarterbacks have come out of Ohio State lately? What about Alabama? What about Georgia? These quarterbacks that win at a high level, a national title level in college, I mean, they haven't really panned out too well outside of Joe Burrow lately. And, Jalen Hurts looks good.
Trevor Lawrence. And I mean, there's a good amount of them.
But just because
that's becoming a more recent trend. Like it was more of like the Deshaun Watson, right?
You go to AJ McCarron, all those Bama quarterbacks up until Jalen Hurts, who finished out at Oklahoma. And I mean, Tua, he's had some trials and tribulations in the NFL. Just because you win in college, that doesn't mean jack in the pros. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but just like you can't, judge a guy for winning in college. I mean, from an NFL perspective, you can't put it as a knock on Levis for not winning in college. I mean, at least at an extremely high level with Kentucky. You can't have it both ways, or you can't have it one or another. It's not fair to judge Levis because he doesn't have that marquee win. I would have loved to see it in college from him. But it's not a huge knock that he didn't get it.
Couple interesting things here. Number one, Master Jedi says, I think a year behind Tanny, along with Charles London, teaching him will produce a good starting quarterback. Tighten up. Charles London is, another factor here of a new guy that the Titans brought into their coaching staff and, is very, very highly thought of around the league. A candidate for a lot of offensive coordinator jobs before Mike Vrabel is able to bring him in. As a quarterbacks coach, and honestly, something that Mike Vrabel has given a lot of credit to Amy Adams Strunk for, and Titans fans ought to give Amy Adams Strunk credit for, is her willingness to spend on supporting coaching staff to make those assistant jobs a little bit more appealing for a guy like Charles London, who I'm sure was filled with offers to go elsewhere, comes to the Titans because Miss Amy has given Mike the resources available to go and hire the guys that he thinks are necessary. He'll be working with Will Levis. We'll watch that relationship. And Will Levis has confirmed to Titans media he will be at rookie minicamp. So I'll get to have my eyes on him and speak with Will Levis.
Was that a question? Like, I mean, obviously somebody has. Like, was it? Why wouldn't he
I
be
just
at
saw it
rookie
tweeted,
minicamp?
but he will be here at rookie minicamp. So we'll get to see and speak with Will Levis here very shortly. John says Austin sounds like we already went over that. The Malik repeat. Two things here. When's our next pick from Deshaun Washington? That would be 81. 81. So we have
35.
We have quite a few picks, and we'll kind of wrap up here pretty soon, I think, so that
Yeah.
Jack and I can take care of business. But 81 is the next pick. And here's an interesting debate that I want you guys to kind of consider, because trading up to CJ Stroud was at least probably, right? Pick 11, your second rounder, pick 41, and next year's first round pick. That's kind of fair? And then maybe it is your third. Like, do you think that's the fair comp? A 1 and 2 this year, a 1 and 3 next year to go to number 3 and get CJ Stroud, because you gave up the 3 to move up and get Will Levis. And if that is the comp, Dave Collins brings it up. Would you rather have CJ Stroud or Peter Skoronski, Will Levis, and your first round pick next year?
All right,
Because
so
you don't have any
interesting.
3 of those guys if you don't have go and move for Stroud.
So that is interesting. Who commented that? Sorry,
Dave Collins, right on the screen right here. Skoronski, Levis, and a 2024 first, better than Stroud in his opinion. But it's a fascinating debate because you would have given up a lot.
Let's have that conversation. So the good question: who would you rather have, CJ Stroud or Skoronski, Levis, plus next year's first round pick? But first, let me tell you guys about Holiday World and Splashin Safari. Make the most of your family summer with a trip to Holiday World, Splashin Safari, just a couple hours away north of Nashville. They have top-ranked roller coasters and the nation's first launched water coaster. Don't miss Holidays in the Skies when it returns June 17th through July 30th with over 400 drones, giving you a drone and fireworks spectacular that's the size of 2 football fields. Get the fun started with the best savings online at holidayworld.com, where there's always free parking, free soft drinks, and free sunscreen for the entire family. Just a couple hours north of Nashville. Get tickets at holidayworld.com. So interesting question coming up from Dave. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Peter Skoronski, Will Levis, next year's unnamed, unknown first-round pick, or CJ Stroud? Jack,
easy.
You want to go first?
This is so easy, Dave Collins. Give me Levis, Skoronski, and a first next draft. They could turn that into a premier wide receiver. You want CJ Stroud over a first rounder next year? Your day one starter on the offensive line in Skoronski, who could even move out to tackle, and a potential quarterback of the future. That's a ridiculous question. And there's one right answer here, and it's to have Skoronski, Levis, in a first next season. That's easy.
This is fascinating because really the right answer is dependent on who CJ Stroud is as a quarterback, right? I mean, if he is...
You love CJ Stroud, Sam.
I love CJ Stroud, and that's why it's my answer. And I don't like that I'm saying that because I have liked what the Titans have done. Like, I mean, I was over the moons. Peter Skoronski's my guy, and I don't want to pick against what the Titans have started to build here, and it could wind up being really, really good for them. But the quarterback is the most important position in the league. It's the most important position in sports. I think CJ Stroud is a very, very, very good one that is going to take this league by storm and be a franchise QB out in Houston. So I would take CJ Stroud over Skoronski, Levis, and a first-round pick because as we've gone over and we went over yesterday with the price for Stroud, it doesn't matter what you give up if the QB hits. It's a very tough call. I mean, it's a good question, but I have to go with CJ Stroud.
I agree. I go with CJ Stroud. I don't believe in Will Levis. So why would I pick that answer? No, what would I do if I would have gone CJ Stroud and give up all those assets, or Peter Skoronski, Darnell Washington, and another wide receiver? I would go with Peter Skoronski, Darnell Washington, and that other wide receiver in the third round over the Will Levis pick. The Will Levis pick, I don't like it, and I'm not going to change how I feel about it like that. And
Yeah.
unless he changes my mind with what he does, and it's not going to change my mind in the preseason, right? Like it's gonna take a while. Like time is going to have to be on his side to change my mind on what I think, because Zach Mettenberger led the NFL in passing yards in one preseason, and he was 0-10 as a starter in the NFL. So it's going to take a lot of time to change my mind.
Oh, come on. That's Uncle Zach Mettenberger to me. That's fair, but time is on Levis's side. Like, he doesn't have to come in and start this season. He's got Tannehill. I truly believe
As of now, he does. Because, and this is not the time to talk about it, but there is a decision that will have to be made. Do you give up on Ryan Tannehill and save $27 million, or do you give up on Malik Willis and just cut bait and move and keep no comments on that right now. We've got the entire summer to go through that, or at least up until June 1st when the Titans could do that.
With a guy with that has all of these tools like Levis does, the big arm. I mean, he can make every throw in the book. His flaw, decision making. Is there not a better situation to walk into than to learn behind one of the best game managers in the NFL and Ryan Tannehill? I mean, that's where you develop that decision making trait. I think he's got a year to do it, and he enters his second year in the system next year. Hopefully, if Tim Kelly's still here,
and hypothetically, by keeping that first round pick next year, right? So now you're not only we'll see, right? Because I thought they were going to do something by now at receiver already, but you're hypothetically putting Will Levis in a situation where he has the year of development with Charles London and with Pat O'Hara, and working behind Ryan Tannehill and really growing into the Titans offense, which has a lot of similar concepts to what he ran at Kentucky. And as he gets his footing in the NFL, you now put him on a team next year that has Peter Skoronski up front, that hopefully has Nicholas Petit-Frere taking the next step, has Treylon Burks and Chigakonkwo fully developed into being NFL stars. You hope, if you're the Titans, that these guys really take a step forward as threats down the field, and has a first-round pick and a lot of money to spend to surround your young guy. So, I mean, that is the scenario that the Titans are then, hoping to put him in, where the team around him is really good enough to support him and compete by the time that, he's ready to take the reins as well.
I'm looking at Jeffrey Benson on Facebook, which this is just funny. A life situation that Jeffrey Benson is in. He goes, WTF, this is what I wake up to. Why did we take Will Wrangler? Why? In the second round and traded up? The dude was going to go undrafted. The undrafted part. But the fact that Jeffrey Benson woke up from whatever, I don't know.
That is tragic. Especially,
it's so funny.
You see in the profile picture the Tennessee jersey on. Yeah. He hates Will Levis, and he woke up from a nap and was like, "Oh, he's in a fever dream right now."
Like what?
Seeing Will Levis Titans jersey photoshops everywhere, and
that's really funny
for him.
So I mentioned the Zach Mettenberger thing, and immediately Noji Perry says this pick is very Mettenberger-esque, and then Jackie says that's exactly who Levis is, Zach Mettenberger.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. And the situation is so. The two situations are absolutely not.
Zach Mettenberger went in the 6th round, and
Zach Mettenberger played under Ken Wisenhunt on a Titans team that was dead to right for like 6 seasons. The Titans are, they've got like a solid core right now, a playoff caliber core. Now they still need to piece together some offensive weapons. But to compare Mettenberger to Levis, how lazy. I mean, that sucks. Do better.
So, there is a difference because Zach Mettenberger is a statue and Will Levis can move. Zach Mettenberger was able to throw to Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry at LSU and go to the SEC championship game, where Will Levis had Wan'Dale Robinson a couple of years ago, and that's about it. So there is, I don't agree with the comparison there, but I did find that funny. I don't think that's it.
Quick update from around the draft, just as we've kind of been diving into these rumors. A lot of picks have come off the board. Derek Hall, 37 to Seattle. Matthew Bergeron, the offensive tackle from Syracuse, goes 38 to Atlanta. We mentioned Jonathan Mingo goes to Carolina at 39. Isaiah Foskey, edge rusher, Notre Dame, to New Orleans at 40. BJ Ojulari goes to Monty Ossenfort and the Cardinals with that Titans pick at number 41, an edge rusher from LSU. Luke Musgrave, the tight end to Green Bay at 42. Joe Tippmann, a center that a lot of people very high on out of Wisconsin, goes to the New York Jets. Julius Brents, a defensive back from Kansas State, lands with the division rival Indianapolis Colts. Brian Branch, the safety / cornerback out of Alabama, in a trade, the Detroit Lions trade with Green Bay to go get Brian Branch. Keon White goes to Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Illinois defensive back Jartavius Martin goes 47 overall to Washington. That is an Illinois Fighting Illini in the first and the second round for those of you.
They should have won more games.
All right,
they won a fair number of games. I mean, there was a good season to be an Illini. Cody Mauch, I know a lot of people at home right now for basically like 30 fan bases are upset that Cody Mauch is not a player on their team. Everybody I've talked to likes him, but he goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 48 overall. And then Wisconsin defensive tackle Keanu Benton just goes at 49 to Pittsburgh. Green Bay is on the clock, followed by Miami, Seattle, and Chicago. But that is where the draft is. The best overall, let's see, the players, the prospects that are still remaining. I'm going to pull these up right now.
Yeah, all right. So real quick. So I'm glad Sam is going to bring up best prospects still remaining here on the show, A to Z Sports. So what we're going to do, we will be live for the Titans' third round pick, which is in like 30 selections as the Packers pick is coming in right now. So I'll let that Packers pick come in. So Sam, you can have your updated, but your guy, Jaden Reed out of Michigan State, Sam, goes to the Green Bay Packers at 50 overall. So real quick, Sam's going to get us the updated best available, but did want to thank all of our great sponsors for A to Z Sports Titans Draft Live. We'll come back for the third round pick later on tonight, but HelloFresh, go to HelloFresh.com/ATOZ50 and use code ATOZ50 for 50% off and your first box ships free. Holiday World, Splashin Safari. Make the most of your family summer with a trip just a couple hours away. Get tickets at holidayworld.com and Aura, keeping you safe online. Use our link, aura.com/ATOZ, to try Aura for 2 weeks for free to see how many data brokers are sharing your info. That's aura.com/ATOZ. So Sam, hit us with the best players available.
Kane says, would you rather be right once or wrong 3 times, regards to that debate that we had about Levis, Skoronski, and, their next pick versus CJ Stroud? I think that's him endorsing Stroud, I believe.
Hard to get it wrong 3 times.
John says, Jack, interceptions are not good game management, referring to Will
not going to be a game manager. And I keep saying, Jack, you want a game manager. Like Jay Cutler was my favorite quarterback of all time. I don't like game managers. I like big arm dudes like Will Levis. He can learn how to make good decisions. As long as he's
closer to Jay Cutler and not closer to Jameis Winston, then you'll see. Big Ten win for Brad just throws that in there. I want to get that out there because Joey Porter did go 32nd overall, like we said at the end of last night's show. So the Big Ten beat out the SEC.
And then the SEC went right there at 33, though. So
well, but people are talking. That's all I'm saying here. Jaden Reed did go off the board to Green Bay, and this pick just came in from Miami. Waiting to see what this is, and then we can come with the best players available. As Teron Armstead, the 4-time Pro Bowler, is representing the Miami Dolphins out in Kansas City. Jaden Reed was the pick. It is Cam Smith, the DB out of South Carolina. So
good player.
Yeah, very good player. A guy who had a lot of first-round buzz around him at one point in time. But here are the players that are undrafted according to NFL.com, the best available. Number 1 is Jalen Hyatt, the wide receiver out of Tennessee. Drew Sanders, Arkansas linebacker. Josh Downs, North Carolina wide receiver. Then John Michael Schmitz, Minnesota's center. Keely Ringo, DJ Turner, Cedric Tillman, Osiris Torrance. Darnell Washington is still available. And if you are a Titans fan who is probably looking at a wide receiver or a tight end, the top 10 best available that you're probably, we'll just look at the top 5 or 6 here, but Hyatt, Downs, Cedric Tillman, Tyler Scott, Tank Dell, Marvin Mims are the names that are still available at wide receiver for the Titans right now. I mean, still 30 picks to go. So a lot of names that are going to come off the board before the Titans are up next. But
Yeah,
that's what we're looking at here as we get set to wrap up our round 2 coverage.
absolutely, guys.
Just two receivers and one tight end have gone in the second round. That's setting up well for the Titans in round 3.
Yep.
Long way to
All
go.
right.
Setting
Yeah.
up well.
The Seahawks are about to pick at 52, and then we're gonna break because Sam
we
and
gotta
Jack,
break.
you guys got things to write, and if we keep on talking, but oh well, after the next pick, So, real quick, John asked what wide receivers are still available. Sam, if you could just repeat that list again, real quick, of which receivers still available. The Titans pick at 81 next is what they got back from Arizona in that trade for Will Levis.
So I think these are the top 7 that are like names that a lot of people recognize. We have Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee, Josh Downs from North Carolina, Cedric Tillman also from Tennessee, Tyler Scott from Cincinnati, Tank Dell out of Houston, Marvin Mims from Oklahoma, A.T. Perry out of Wake Forest. My guy Rashee Rice from SMU is still available. So keep an eye out on those names. We'll come back in the 3rd round when it's a little bit closer to the Titans pick and have a bit of a breakdown on, who's still available and what they could do. At 81, they need to get a pass catcher, though. So keep an eye out for your wide receivers and tight ends that might go off the board here.
All right, guys. Well, we will be back later on tonight. Be ready because you never know when the Titans are going to do something to make us jump on live immediately again. So we'll be back. Thanks again to everybody for watching. Incredible interaction tonight as the Titans trade up to get Will Levis at 33 overall. Sam and Jack, you guys are both going to hit the website, A2Zsports.com, where I know Buck has already published his thoughts about Will Levis being the Titans pick at 33 overall. So more content flying out there at A2Zsports.com. And we'll be back for the Titans 3rd round pick, 81 overall momentarily. See you here in a second, getting some dinner break and some writing break. See you guys soon. Thanks.